The relationship between science and religion has been a subject of debate for centuries. The God of the gaps argument is based on the assumption that phenomena not yet scientifically explained are attributed to God, and that as science progresses, these gaps are gradually filled. But does belief in God truly become unnecessary if science one day explains everything? This video seeks to address this frequently asked question from philosophical, scientific, and logical perspectives. One reason this question is raised is that some religious individuals attempt to ground belief in God solely through phenomena such as the Big Bang, events from billions of years ago, or the origin of life, which science has yet to explain. In response, an atheist thinker may believe that these processes will eventually be fully understood, thereby rendering belief in God unnecessary. However, this approach misinterprets both scientific progress and the philosophical foundation of theism. First, the claim that science fills in the gaps is misleading. Science outlines the sequential progression of natural events, what follows what. It observes and classifies how a leaf falls, how a cell divides, or how a seed turns into a plant. But the answers to these how questions refer to the operational sequence of mechanisms. They do not explain the ontological reason for these processes. The critique of the God of the gaps is based on the assumption that religious belief exists merely to explain the unknown. This view is flawed in two fundamental ways. 1. A narrow definition of God. In Islam, God is not only the explainer of the unknown, but also the creator of all that is known. He is the necessary cause of existence and the ultimate source of the universe's order. 2. Ignoring the limits of science. Science describes how natural laws operate, but does not explain why these laws exist or why they function in a particular way. The laws of physics themselves, the origin of the universe, and consciousness are subjects beyond empirical inquiry. They fall into the realm of metaphysics, where scientific methodology cannot reach. According to Islamic thought, God is both the legislator and sustainer of natural laws. He is the ultimate source behind all known and unknown processes. Let us now clarify this idea with some logical analogies. Take earthquakes, for example. Scientific research shows that they occur due to the movement of tectonic plates. Some argue that this discovery proves there is no divine will involved, but this is like understanding how a firearms mechanism works and then denying the existence of the person who pulled the trigger. Knowing how a system functions does not negate the existence of an agent behind it. Understanding tectonic plates may explain the mechanics of earthquakes, but it says nothing about the will behind them. Here's another example. Imagine a child learning how an automobile engine works by studying all its parts. Suppose that child comes to understand the function, properties, and operating principles of each component. Does this knowledge prove the engine wasn't designed by an engineer? On the contrary, this deeper understanding increases admiration for the designer. Similarly, scientific discoveries that reveal the precision and sophistication of natural systems make the existence of a guiding will even more evident. Science explains sequences of events, thereby allowing us to observe God's choices and how they are reflected in the universe. These discoveries do not render God unnecessary. They raise deeper questions about the existence of natural laws themselves. Let's now move to the central metaphor. Imagine a scientist sitting in a movie theater trying to understand events by observing only the two-dimensional screen. This scientist accepts as scientific only what can be seen on the screen and rejects any explanation referring to what lies beyond it. A green dot occasionally appears on the screen, drawing the scientist's attention. Curious about its origin, the scientist continues observing. Some viewers suggest that the green dot is caused by a projector outside the screen, but the scientist dismisses this idea because the projector cannot be seen on the screen. As the scientist continues to investigate, they notice that just before the green dot appears, a blue dot moves downward. After repeated testing, they find a consistent correlation between the two events and name the phenomenon, the Matthew-Cantas theory. According to this theory, the green dot appears due to the motion of the blue dot. But this explanation ignores the true cause behind the events. What appears on the screen may be the reflection of a source outside the screen itself. Dismissing the projector simply because it is not visible on the screen is to reject metaphysical reality in favor of mere empiricism. Science may uncover how the projector reflects images, but it cannot answer why the projector exists in the first place. This is similar to the growth of a plant after rainfall. Science observes this sequence and defines it. Rain falls, the plant grows. But perhaps that growth reflects an intentional pattern, a will that chooses to make the plant grow after rain. Science can describe the process, but cannot account for the conscious decision behind it. This system works with such precision that plant growth involves not just chemical or biological processes, but also physical, mathematical, and thermodynamic laws. And these laws apply not only on Earth, but also in distant galaxies. This points to the existence of a single, universal order. Therefore, the consistency of scientific laws is better explained not by random, unconscious matter, but by the existence of an intelligent and purposeful designer. Returning to our cinema metaphor, the projector first casts the blue dot, then the green one. We may assign scientific names to this sequence: photosynthesis, helicase enzymes, mitosis, but these labels only describe what is seen. They do not explain its origin. In this context, the phrase "God of the gaps" misrepresents religious belief. Religion does not seek to explain only what is unknown, but to give meaning to the entirety of existence. A common claim is that science answers how, religion answers why. While this distinction seems neat at first, it is ultimately reductionist. The Quran offers comprehensive responses to both how and why questions. But these responses require intellectual openness. If one begins with the presumption that only what is observable is real, then metaphysical truths will forever remain inaccessible. As science advances, we begin to observe phenomena in greater detail. At first, only the green dot was visible. Then came the blue one, and eventually, perhaps even an orange trace in between. These discoveries, however, are akin to learning how the projector emits light, and this process brings us closer to recognizing the existence of the projector itself. In the end, if there's a green dot on the screen, and you try to explain it without ever mentioning the projector, your explanation will be incomplete. Likewise, in a universe governed by perfectly functioning physical, chemical, and biological laws, trying to explain everything through unconscious atoms alone also results in an incomplete account. It is a scientific fact that matter is not conscious, willful, or knowledgeable. We can think of atoms like ink in the hand of a writer. Ink cannot compose a meaningful book on its own, just as atoms cannot spontaneously produce an ordered and meaningful universe. As Nobel Prize-winning physicist Max Planck said, "Science is a path that leads us to God." Therefore, even if science explains everything, those explanations themselves do not exclude the existence of God. On the contrary, they guide us toward a deeper understanding of His reality.